Marvel managed to build up even more suspense with the Spider-Man role in the MCU, thanks to the serious cliffhanger that we saw in the mid-credit scenes of Spider-Man Far From Home. We saw that Spider-Man's identity was revealed as Peter Parker for the whole world to see, and we can't help but wonder what's next for Spider-Man given this current circumstance. And also, what can we expect from the upcoming Spider-Man movie? Well, have no worries, because we're going to be answering all that in this video, and we'll also be talking about a possible crossover from Sony's Marvel Universe and the MCU. So, stay tuned. Welcome to Movie King. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet, and like this video, because it really helps me a lot. Now, let's get into it. There's a lot of speculation as to what we can expect from the upcoming Spider-Man movie. Keep in mind that this is the last solo movie for Spider-Man in the MCU, so I am sure Marvel and Sony will be pulling out all the stops. But you can't help but wonder what's going to happen now that Spider-Man's identity has been revealed. What we can do is make a few suppositions to better predict Peter Parker/Spider-Man's take on this issue based on how he's reacted to things in the past. Let's have a quick recap, shall we? First, a quick recap. In Spider-Man Homecoming, we see Peter Parker is an enthusiastic kid who got a chance to work with the Avengers, and now he's desperate to prove himself and establish his name as a superhero. He in turn takes Tony Stark as a mentor, and we see him really go out of his way to face big baddies, but in the end, he realizes that he was in over his head. That can happen when a maniacal flying man drops a building on top of you. In Infinity Wars, we see him rushing to Tony Stark's side both on Earth and on Titan, only to watch people get bleeped away from this reality as well as himself in a rather emotional manner. Honestly, that still brings back sad memories. We can safely say that having returned and seeing that kind of evil is present in the world and knowing just how powerless you can be against such foes, it's enough to make an aspiring hero scared. This is why, in Far From Home, we see Peter finally maturing and realizing that a hero's life is a really hard one, and after seeing his mentor's demise, he realized that he had some big shoes to fill and some real commitment to make that terrifies him. He tries to take a break from his newfound responsibility and tries his best to lead a normal life, or at least as normal as it can get. But as you already know, that didn't work out so well for him, and he makes a lot of mistakes. Giving Quentin Beck the Edith glasses is a good example. But in the end, he begins to fully embrace his role as Spider-Man and starts trying to show his face more. Apparently, Instagram is the best way to do that. Which brings us to the part where his identity gets revealed, and he is framed for the murder of Mysterio and the disasters that happened in Spider-Man Far From Home. We know it will be hard for him to handle being called a murderer and for his identity being revealed. We know he's not going to be able to go back to school. I'm seeing some Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix kind of vibe happening here, where everyone looks at the hero as a liar and a fraud. Peter will likely have to move into the Avengers base as suggested in the comics, and his relationship with MJ might suffer some damages. The villain or villains. I also believe that J.K. Simmons reprising his role as J. Jonah Jameson, the notorious newshead of the Daily Bugle, who is famed for being a Spider-Man hater, means something. Some comics cover Jameson as a villain, and I believe Jameson is going to instigate a hunt for Spider-Man, and seeing that Spider-Man already has a lot of enemies, I believe, and a lot of people will agree with me, that they're going to be seeing the semblance of the Sinister Six. The Sinister Six is a group that is hell-bent on the destruction of Spider-Man, consisting of a cluster of Spider-Man villains. It's been led by Dr. Octopus and even the Green Goblin. But since Marvel has said we're not going to be seeing the Green Goblin in a while, my guess is Doc Ock might show up in the next movie, cause there's really usually no Sinister Six without Doc Ock. We already have a couple of villains at the ready, such as Vulture, Shocker, Mysterio, who many believe might still be alive, and Mac Gargan, Scorpion, who we've already seen in the mid-credit scene of Spider-Man Homecoming. The reason why I think the Sinister Six plot is worth exploring is because we've already seen the semblance of the Sinister Six plot in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's clear that Sony is really hell-bent on unleashing the Sinister Six on Spider-Man. And like I said earlier, they've already showed us Scorpion, and since Scorpion is a Spider-Man villain that we didn't see in Far From Home, we are most likely going to see him in the next movie. Also, Marvel recently announced that Jamie Foxx is going to be reprising his role as Electro in the new Spider-Man movie. With this many villains on the table, it makes sense that the Sinister Six should show face. Introduction to the multiverse. Marvel also announced that Doctor Strange will also be featured in the movie, which I think is an interesting thing. Not just because I'm excited to see a Cumberbatch-Holland matchup, but mostly because of Electro. Remember, Electro was the main villain in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, so what if by bringing Doctor Strange into the mix, we're going to be seeing some multiverse action, and the Marvel and Sony universe is finally going to merge. This means we'll be seeing some characters in the MCU. This would make Jamie Foxx as Electro's appearance more appropriate, and it might also mean that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man might come to the MCU. But more on that in a sec. Remember that Sony's world consists of characters like Venom, Morbius, and a host of other upcoming guys like Kraven the Hunter. And we know that Marvel and Sony had a falling out on what to do with Spider-Man in terms of his role in the movies of their universe. My guess is, the movie is the agreement that they reached, a way to bring both universes together. Besides, they've already made rumors of Tom Holland making a cameo in the next Venom movie. This suggests that this all seems plausible. This will create more than enough villains for the Sinister Six, and it also opens the possibility for us to have more than one Spider-Man. Multiple Spider-Men. I personally think that there actually might be 3 Spider-Man, or Spider-Men, with rumors for the casting for a live-action Miles Morales already in the works early this year, and also for the return of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I really think we are going to be seeing another Into the Spider-Verse type of deal here. Remember, this might be the last Spider-Man standalone film we'll be seeing in a while, so it's probably going to feature plots of this magnitude. Also, wouldn't it be cool if we got another portal scene as we saw in Avengers Endgame? Only this time, different Spider-Men jump out. There's no telling that might happen, but it sure feels good to know that we might be seeing the Sinister Six and more Spider-Men. In the end, the next Spider-Man movie is going to be nothing but epic. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Tell me some of your theories in the comments section below. Thanks a whole lot for watching, and if you haven't subscribed yet, see that you do and hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon with more Marvel content. And until then, bye for now. This is Movie King, signing out.